Really?
Well, you know what's going on. Someone wanted a lot of attention, and now they got it.
That was the whole episode.
That was the ep.
Yeah.
That was the
Oh,
premise.
is that what it was?
Like, we want privacy, and they keep going on every magazine.
Yeah.
Be a regular person.
Yeah.
Go get a job in an office.
Like, damn, we did some bad stuff.
She's half black.
And then the wife convinces you to leave the royal family. Like, I'm out. I don't need you guys. Which is crazy, because don't you just get free money?
Dude, give me my allowance.
What do you get when you're a royal?
You get a stipend.
You get a
What's the
bunch
stipend?
of cash.
Like,
I'm sure it's
you
a
spend
million
on
a
anything
month.
you want?
Yeah, what about the countesses?
Yeah.
Do they get?
They believe the digital past had been successfully scrubbed clean, buried beneath layers of meticulously crafted PR spin and new royal titles. But the internet is a vast graveyard where nothing truly stays dead forever. For years, Meghan Markle's sophisticated public relations machinery has worked with tireless intensity to curate a very specific, sanitized narrative of her life before she ascended into the British aristocracy. It was a carefully honed story of a hardworking, struggling actress fighting tooth and nail through the Hollywood trenches, relying solely on her talent, grit, and determination. This narrative was the foundation of her relatability, the bedrock upon which her current persona as a global humanitarian and relatable victim of circumstance was built. But in an era defined by digital permanence, secrets are only ever temporarily obscured, waiting for someone with a loud enough megaphone to unearth them. While Meghan has been busy attempting to launch her latest lifestyle venture via Netflix, trying desperately to convince a skeptical global audience of her inherent authenticity, a metaphorical bomb was detonated in an Austin, Texas podcast studio that has allegedly fractured her carefully constructed reality. We are not discussing a run-of-the-mill tabloid whisper campaign or the bitter ramblings of an estranged family member looking for a payout. We are talking about the singular, most influential entity in modern media, Joe Rogan. With a staggering audience that eclipses traditional news networks, Rogan reportedly just placed a firm hand on the third rail of royal gossip, validating and amplifying the one specific topic Meghan has allegedly spent a small fortune trying to suppress. The online world is currently in the midst of a meltdown over what is being termed the Yacht Girl exposure. For the first time in her highly managed career, the Duchess is facing an adversary operating completely outside the ecosystem she understands. She cannot sue him into silence. She cannot pressure his non-existent editors, and she cannot control the narrative he unleashes. What happens when the planet's biggest podcaster decides to tug on a loose thread of a Hollywood secret that was supposed to remain forever in the dark? The resulting fallout we are witnessing is unlike any crisis the Sussexes have weathered before. This crisis is not merely about embarrassed reactions to resurfaced photos. It is far more structural. It is about a biographical timeline that suddenly fractures under scrutiny, finances that defy basic arithmetic, and a saga of missing years that completely contradicts the struggling artist story the public has been sold. To truly grasp why this is a potential catastrophe for the Sussex brand, one must examine the specific era Rogan reportedly shone a spotlight on, the years spanning 2014 to 2016. In her own words, during countless interviews and episodes of her Archetypes podcast, Meghan has painted this specific era in shades of grinding poverty and relentless hustle. She has regaled audiences with tales of driving a beat-up car where the doors wouldn't open, struggling to make her union payments, and barely scraping by in the cutthroat environment of the entertainment industry. It is a classic rags-to-riches framework designed to engender sympathy and relatability. Yet, the photographic evidence that recently went viral tells a radically different story, one that reeks not of struggle, but of immense, unexplained wealth, exclusive access, and high society connections that a B-list cable actress should not have possessed. Following Rogan's alleged commentary, social media platforms were inundated with images of this supposedly struggling Meghan relaxing on the decks of massive, 9-figure superyachts cruising the Mediterranean. These were not Carnival cruises booked on a discount site. We are talking about private vessels docked in Monaco, arguably the most expensive square mile on the face of the earth. In one particularly damaging photo that trended globally within hours of the podcast dropping, Meghan is seen looking incredibly comfortable, champagne flute loosely held, surrounded by older, extremely wealthy men who were definitely not casting directors looking for the next big star. The question Rogan reportedly posed, and the question millions are now asking with increasing volume, is devastatingly simple. How does a broke cable TV actress afford a seat at that exclusive table? Access to these yachts is strictly invitation only. It is a world sealed off from regular people. The disconnect between the narrative of, "I couldn't afford to fix my car door," and the visual reality of spending summers island hopping on a billionaire's floating palace is so sharp it shatters any suspension of disbelief. The internet does not hate a hustle, but it absolutely despises a hypocrite. Right now, those photos serve as visual proof for many that the struggle might have been a complete fabrication. To understand the genuine panic that must be gripping Montecito, we have to delve into what the term yachting actually signifies in the dark underbelly of the entertainment industry. This is the context mainstream news outlets are terrified to touch, but it is the exact context Rogan allegedly brought to the forefront. In specific Hollywood circles, yachting is rarely about the sport of sailing. It is widely understood as a euphemism for a very specific, transactional type of networking. It involves aspiring models and actresses being flown to exotic, high-wealth locations, places like Dubai, Cannes, or Sardinia, to provide atmosphere, beauty, and companionship for ultra-wealthy men. These arrangements are often shrouded in the plausible deniability of modeling gigs or vague brand ambassadorships, but the industry rumor mill has always suggested arrangements far more quid pro quo. It is a shadowy world defined by non-disclosure agreements, private jets, and unlisted phone numbers. When Rogan reportedly discussed the nature of these trips, he wasn't just commenting on her vacation habits. He was hinting at a past lifestyle that is fundamentally incompatible with the feminist, independent icon image Meghan tries so hard to project today. If the allegations are true that her presence on these boats was part of this specific circuit, it recontextualizes her entire rise to fame. It suggests her ascent wasn't just about acting chops or auditions, but about mastering the art of social climbing through men of immense influence. This is why the term yacht girl is radioactive for her brand. It implies her access to power was purchased with companionship. For a duchess who preaches about female empowerment and breaking glass ceilings, being linked to a culture that views women as decorative assets on a rich man's boat is the ultimate brand killer. We must get forensic with the finances, because this is where the struggling actress narrative falls apart completely under the slightest scrutiny. During the period in question, Meghan was a supporting character on the basic cable show Suits. While it was a steady job paying a decent wage, it was absolutely not private jet money. It was a show filmed in Toronto with a moderate budget. The lifestyle depicted in the resurfaced photos, the designer wardrobes, the constant intercontinental business class travel, the extended stays at exclusive, members-only resorts like Soho House locations around the world, requires an annual burn rate of hundreds of thousands of dollars post-tax. Rogan's alleged commentary touched on this financial discrepancy with brutal logic. You simply cannot budget your way from a basic cable salary onto a Russian oligarch's boat. You do not get into those circles by frugally saving up your per diem checks. There is a glaringly missing income stream, or an undisclosed benefactor, that has never been publicly acknowledged. This ties into the free money concept Rogan has mocked in the past, the perception that Meghan seems to drift through life with others constantly footing the bills for her extravagance. Whether it was her father financing her early life, her then-husband Trevor Engelson supporting her early career, the British taxpayers funding her brief royal stint, or these mysterious yacht owners, a pattern emerges. The profound irony is that she left the royal family claiming she wanted financial independence, yet her history suggests a deep, career-long reliance on the wealth of others to maintain her status. When you look at the photos from 2014, dripping in jewelry and sipping vintage wine, and compare it to her claims of hardship, the public feels gaslit. People are willing to forgive a past, but they are not willing to be actively lied to about the present. By refusing to explain this gap in her finances, Meghan created a vacuum of information, and thanks to Rogan, that vacuum is now being filled with the most damaging explanation possible. You cannot tell the story of the yacht years without talking about the one man who seems to hold the keys to all the locked rooms, Marcus Anderson. In the ever-rotating cast of characters that have moved through Meghan's life, Marcus is the stark anomaly. Her father is gone, her childhood best friend Inaki Pretty is gone, her royal in-laws are gone, her former stylist BFF Jessica Mulroney is gone, but Marcus Anderson remains a fixture.